Have you ever seen an animal completely change someone's life? In the heart of the Serengeti, where the burning sun scorches the savannah and the roar of lions echoes like distant thunder, Mr. Macand lived a story that will deeply touch your heart. For more than 50 years he endured blazing heat, freezing nights, and countless dangers, all out of love for nature. But do you know what happened in the end? A lion named Kipeo, whom Macand saved as a defenseless cub, did something at his funeral that moved the entire world. Want to know what it was? Stick with me, because this tale of compassion, loyalty, and a bond that transcends species will leave an unforgettable mark on your soul. Grab a tissue. But how did this all begin? Let's journey back into Mr. Macand's past. In the Serengeti, the air smells of sun-baked earth and the horizon shimmers in the heat. Mr. Macand seemed to feel the savannah's pulse. His eyes sparkled as he walked among acacias, like every animal was an old friend. For 50 years he poured his life into conservation, protecting lions, rhinos, and even the tiniest creatures. Can you believe he faced 100-degree days and nights, so cold that ice clung to his boots? Yet he never gave up. Why? Every life was worth the sacrifice. Macand was an ordinary guy, like you or me, crazy about nature since he was a kid. Did you know the Serengeti is home to over 70 mammal species and 500 types of birds? He knew them all, like family. He mapped territories, fought poachers, and taught local communities. The lesson's simple. Small acts, like planting a tree, can change the world. Ever thought about the impact of your choices? Macand lived this, with a compassion that rubbed off on everyone. But what kept him going through all those dangers? The heat was just part of it. Poachers, snakes, angry elephants, he faced them all. Once, he nearly got trampled by a buffalo while saving a zebra. The sound of hooves on dry ground still haunted his dreams. Who hasn't felt fear, but pushed forward for something bigger? Here's a tip. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite it. Macand knew that, and the savannah seemed to shield him, like a sign from the universe. But how did he start this journey? As a young boy, Macand was just a kid obsessed with lions. He never dreamed he'd become a legend. If you love animal stories, hit that like button and subscribe. His life changed when he met the Maasai, a people who taught him to respect nature in a unique way. Picture this, a young guy by a campfire, soaking up savannah secrets. Can you feel the magic? But what did he learn? And how did it prepare him for what was coming? A trapped lion cub would change everything. How would Macand face that moment? Let's find out. Picture young Macand, eyes wide, hearing a lion's roar under a starry Serengeti sky. The air carried the sweet scent of acacia flowers, mixed with campfire smoke. At 16, he left the city to join the Maasai, who lived in harmony with the savannah. Ever felt a calling that tugs at your heart? Macand did, and that's where he began to become a guardian of nature. The Maasai taught Macand to read the savannah like a book. He tracked footprints in red dust and listened to birds to predict rain. Did you know lions can recognize humans they've met, even years later? He learned this from the elders, who guided him with patience. The lesson here: listening to those with experience teaches what no book can. Ever asked a wiser person for advice? Those moments shaped Macand, giving him skills and a deep respect for wildlife. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Nights were dark, with hyenas' howls slicing through the silence. Young Macand shivered from cold and fear, but never backed down. He tended to injured birds with broken wings and antelopes caught in thorns. Each healing was a pledge of compassion. Pause and picture it, the gratitude in an animal's eyes. Who hasn't wanted to make a difference? Macand lived for this, growing stronger. But something bigger was coming. One day, tracking prints with a Maasai elder, Macand heard a faint cry. It was a lion cub, caught in a poacher's trap. His heart raced. He knew getting close was risky, but leaving the cub there was unthinkable. The savannah seemed to hold its breath, like the universe was testing his courage. Can you believe a kid would face that? Here's a tip. Courage comes when you act out of love. That cub, named Kipeo, would change everything. But how would he handle the danger? Saving Kipeo wasn't just a task. It was the start of a bond that would span decades. What would he do in the face of danger? Let's dive into that story. The sun blazed in the Serengeti, and the ground seemed to burn under Macand's feet. A faint whimper, nearly drowned by buzzing insects, led him to a lion cub tangled in ropes. Its eyes begged for help. Young Macand felt his heart tighten. That cub, Kipeo, seemed to plead. Ever seen an animal so helpless it stirred your soul? Getting close was risky. The mother might be nearby, but leaving Kipeo wasn't an option. He had to act. Macand crept forward, sweat dripping. Did you know lion cubs, even young ones, try to defend themselves? Kipeo growled softly, but Macand spoke gently, like to a friend. The lesson: calm is your strength in tense moments. Ever faced something scary with a clear head? He cut the ropes with shaky but steady hands. And then the unexpected happened. Kipeo's mother appeared, a golden blur in the tall grass. Her roar shook the air like thunder. Macand froze but didn't run. He raised his hands, unarmed, showing peace. The lioness paused, as if sensing his compassion. Imagine, face to face with a lion, armed only with courage. The tip: trust your instincts to build connections. Macand carried Kipeo to his mother, who sniffed him and left. Stop and see it. A young man, a cub, a lioness, bound by empathy. But this wasn't the end. Kipeo left a mark on Macand forever. That cub would grow strong, and their bond ran deep. Who hasn't had a moment that shifted their worldview? If you're loving this, hit like and subscribe. Years later, and older, Macand would face a huge challenge. How would he find the strength to save another life? And what would Kipeo do to repay him? Macand's life went on, filled with sacrifices for conservation. Decades later, one final heroic act awaited. What would it be? Let's see. Dusk painted the Serengeti orange, and the breeze carried the scent of dry herbs. Macand, now old, walked slowly, his chest wheezing. His health was failing, but the savannah was home. A call came. A rhino, wounded by poachers, was dying. Macand didn't hesitate. Ever felt even exhausted you had to do something bigger? He grabbed his pack and went, as if nature asked for one last push. It felt like a sign from the universe, you know. Macand found the rhino, a gray giant with a deep gash in its leg. Its eyes pleaded. Did you know rhinos, despite their strength, have sensitive skin tended by birds? Macand worked hours in the heat, stitching and cleaning with trembling hands. The lesson: never underestimate one last effort for someone in need. Ever pushed through for something big? The rhino stood, but something was wrong. Macand felt a sharp chest pain. The cricket's song faded, like the world was slipping away. He fell on the savannah, the ground he'd protected for decades. Colleagues rushed to help, but it was too late. He passed there, surrounded by the nature he loved. Imagine leaving life in the place that defined you. The tip: live with purpose, for it brings peace. What do you want to leave behind? Bierkening left a legacy of love, but something unexpected was coming. His death shook the reserve. Macand was a symbol of care for wildlife. If this moves you, like and subscribe. The funeral, with Maasai rituals, was set to honor his soul. But something would stun everyone. What was it? And how would Kipeo fit in? The sun rose over the Serengeti, gilding the savannah, and the wind whispered like a farewell. Macand's funeral gathered friends and Maasai, singing in deep voices. The scent of incense mingled with damp earth. Everyone stood silent, tears held back. Ever felt an emptiness that unites people? That's how it was. Macand was gone, but something incredible was about to happen. The Maasai raised a simple stone for his grave, a sign of eternal respect. Did you know wild lions rarely approach humans in mourning except for special bonds? Then a golden figure emerged. It was Kipeo, the lion Macand saved, now majestic. Everyone stopped, breathless. Picture it, a lion at a funeral. The lesson: true bonds never break. Ever had someone who changed your life? Kipeo walked to the grave. The sound of his paws on the earth echoed the moment's weight. He stopped, gazed at the stone, and lay beside it, like a guardian. Tears fell. Who wouldn't be moved? The tip: honor those who shaped you, even with small gestures. Ever thanked someone special? This showed gratitude knows no bounds. But Kipeo would do more. The funeral ended, but Macand and Kipeo's story lived on. The reserve buzzed about the lion who came to say goodbye. If this touched you, like and subscribe. What Kipeo did next would shock the world. How could a lion show such loyalty? And what would it mean for Macand? Under a full moon, the Serengeti glowed with crickets singing like a wild symphony. Kipeo returned to Macand's grave night after night, lying there like a silent guardian. The silver shine of his mane seemed to reflect Macand's soul. Ever seen an animal act like it understands something beyond us? Kipeo did, and his loyalty moved the world. The reserve spoke of the lion who never forgot his savior. It was as if he said, "You live in me." Kipeo's story spread through videos and news. Did you know lions can show grief like humans? Kipeo sometimes roared softly, like a lament. The lesson: gratitude is universal, even among animals. How do you thank those who helped you? Kipeo taught that gestures speak louder than words. It stirred everyone. Guards watched Kipeo from afar, the scent of morning dew in the air. He didn't hunt those nights, just stood watch, pause and feel it. A free lion honoring a man. Who wouldn't tear up? The tip: cherish the bonds you build, for they last. Kipeo showed what a true bond is. But his story would have a bigger impact. Kipeo's presence drew visitors to the Serengeti, eager to see the grave and hear about Macand. If this moves you, like and subscribe. The reserve decided to make something bigger. What would they do to honor Macand? And how would Kipeo be part of it? The Serengeti woke with birdsong, and the air held the freshness of recent rain. Macand's grave, a stone amid tall grasses, became a landmark. Visitors came to pay tribute, touched by his story. The reserve created the Macand Fund for Animal Protection, ensuring his love endured. Ever seen a legacy inspire strangers? Macand left that, and Kipeo was living proof. The fund supported patrols, care for injured animals, and village education. Did you know such programs saved 30% of the Serengeti's endangered species since the 70s? Macand's work inspired rangers, scientists, and kids. The lesson: small actions spark change. How can you leave your mark? Macand showed a devoted heart makes a difference, and Kipeo was its symbol. Kipeo, now old, still visited the grave, his roar echoing on wet earth. Who hasn't felt an animal understands more than we say? The tip: care for those around you, for love returns. The bond between Macand and Kipeo taught that empathy has no limits. But their story went beyond. The grave became a place of reflection. People left flowers, letters, lion drawings. If this moved you, like and subscribe. Macand's message grew. Protecting nature is protecting ourselves. How would this legacy continue? And what does Kipeo teach us? And so, the story of Macand and Kipeo leaves us with full hearts and teary eyes. In the Serengeti, where the savannah thrives, a man proved love, compassion, and sacrifice changed the world. Kipeo, with his loyalty, showed bonds between man and animal are stronger than any barrier. Who'd have thought a rescued cub would guard Macand's memory? The lesson is clear. Every gesture matters, and empathy unites species. Ever considered the impact of a kind act? Macand lived for this, and his legacy through the Macand Fund saves lives in the savannah. Pause and feel it. A free lion mourning a human friend. This story calls us to care for nature and value bonds. The final tip: live with purpose, like Macand, and leave your mark. And you, ever had an animal change your life? Share in the comments. Your story might inspire others. If this touched The next video YouTube suggests will move you even more. Don't miss it. Like, subscribe, and let's spread love for nature.